Hello, good morning. It is 8:03 a.m. on Friday, March 21st. It's been a while. How you doing? I hope you are well. Things here have been steady as she goes. I think today's episode is going to be pretty bare bones, pretty straightforward. Just me kind of chit-chatting with you, keeping you updated on things. So it's the 21st. I have exactly 10 days left here at the campground in Bellingham, Circle CG Farm Campground. I really can't thank you enough for your hospitality here. It's been a great experience for my very, very first time living full time in an RV. My first 2 weeks was over at my friend's yard in Portsmouth. And then after those first 2 weeks, I've just been here since December 1st. So I am grateful for the facility here and the awesome people who work here. I'm coming up to the end here of my stay at my very first campground. And yeah, I'm excited for what could be next, but also very kind of nervous because I don't really know what could be next. I am still waiting to hear from my friends in Portsmouth to see if I might be able to come back in April for maybe a month or two. If I don't hear back from them this afternoon, I'm going to have to put out some sort of general bulletin on Facebook to my friends and family to see if anyone's got some land that I could park on just for another couple of months. Like I don't know if I've explained this before, but when I sold the house in Taunton, our septic tank failed, but it failed because it was over 30 years old. It was put in with the house in 1980, I think it was, when the house was built. So there's no real septic tank that's going to last 30 years that was built 30 years ago. It just, or 40 years ago or whatever more. So it was a guarantee that it was going to fail. So I knew that, before really being able to sell the house, I would have to figure out how to tie into the city sewer or pay for a whole new septic, system, which is probably more expensive. Everyone seemed to point in that direction that it was going to be more expensive. But then when I got the quote from the contractor about tying into the city sewer, it was $34,000. That doesn't, and everyone was like, oh, it'll be about $30,000 to put in a septic. And I'm like, well, how am I paying more now? But anyway, I don't know what this kind of stuff costs. I imagine it's very expensive. So I'm not really going to poke at it or fight it. So what happens is they will take out, in this circumstance where I had to leave the home and sell it, in order to afford to get the work done, what they do is they take the money that he's quoted and they take it out of the house payment, the money that I would have received, but then they also take half again. So there's around $17,000 technically earmarked to come back to me, but only if the contractor doesn't have to dip into that as a emergency fund or a reserve fund, just in case unforeseen things happen, parts or materials or whatever are short. He's got to go grab another bag of something. So that's what that's there for. And I know that I shouldn't be, but I'm kind of, and have been hoping and banking on the fact that he won't need to dip into that $17,000 at all. Or if he does, maybe only by a couple of grand. So I'm kind of hoping that once the digging ban is lifted after the winter has left us, and it's basically on its way out now. After that digging moratorium is lifted and he can actually dig into the city streets and connect the pipes, with any luck, I'll have, 15,000 maybe. I mean, again, ideally the full 17, but I seriously doubt it, even though $34,000 seems like a lot. Again, a lot of that's probably going to permits and stuff, bureaucratic kind of bullshit. But whatever. So I have something coming back to me, but I don't know how much, and I don't know exactly when. So that's a little frustrating. Beyond that, though, it doesn't necessarily matter if I'm going to have 17 or 15,000. Yes, of course, that's a huge amount of money, and it would be very helpful to me just to take some stress off my shoulders. But it's also not going to last for very long if that's all I had, which is what happened to me in this first round of the house money. Having bought the truck and the camper and then all of the stuff that I would need effectively for both of those things, yeah, it's put me in a very precarious financial position. I have been able to pick up a little bit of work, working again with my friend Mike for his auto repair shop, doing his TikToks. He just started a TikTok account like last month or the month before, and he asked if I would be willing to edit short videos and upload to the page. So I've been doing that. That's about $100 a week. In fact, I think today is payday for that, so that's good. I'll have another $100 in my account. Clientele, as far as my freelance work goes, is very few and far between. I've been putting in applications, 3 or 4 applications every couple of days. I just got a denial from, I forget who it was, but they ended up sending the denial twice. Just in case I didn't get the first time, they're gonna send it again a second time, so that's cool. But I did find a gig that actually got back to me with an affirmative. Believe it or not, as ironic as it may be, I am working for Babbel, the language learning / translation software. I am working for their as a voice trainer for their AI. How perfect is it that the only place that will get back to me and say, yes, you can work for us, is to train AI to like make our future overlords better, faster. But I am not at a place to really, split too many hairs on that level right now. I just need to make any money I can make. The first day was interesting. So like the setup is you are a caller and you are randomly paired with another caller. And then they want you to naturally and casually speak in normal human conversation about any number of topics. They give you a whole bunch of random topics. You don't even necessarily have to stay on topic. You can kind of veer and flow with things. They have very specific requirements of you as the caller, as the speaker. And if you don't meet them, they will penalize you. And so here's the rub, right? So it's $17.50 an hour to start, which is damn good money. And they're like a certain kind of business or whatever, so like they don't take taxes out. So I'm working effectively like under the table as a private contractor for Babbel at $17.50 an hour, which is awesome. But when you first start, they don't let you even get in a full hour. They only allow you up to 3 calls. Each call is 15 minutes. So I can get 45 minutes in a day at first. And then as I do more calls and get better ratings, they will open up more calls to me. But here's some of the one of the problems is, again, in the whole beginning preamble of starting to work there, they're asking for natural sounding, like casual kind of conversation. They say keep it appropriate, no swearing, no inappropriate topics like drugs, violence, sex, blah, blah, blah. Which is fine, that makes sense. But they're expecting a certain amount. So there's this meter, and I'm not going to be able to really show it well, but it's these 2 curved bars, and they kind of meet in the middle with a gap. And one side represents you, the other person is represented on the other side. And as the conversation shifts, if they're talking more, it's going to kind of go like this. And then now they're predominantly taking over the thing. And then if I interject and say, oh, okay, yeah, it'll kind of jump a little bit. And then if I really start to talk, it'll kind of go in my direction, right? And what they want is a balance. They want it to be back and forth, back and forth. But the thing is, some of the questions they ask you, like some of the questions that are prompts that one of the person, when the call first starts, is going to ask the other person, requires some thought and maybe some explanation, maybe some exposition. And you can't give out any personal identifying information. So I can't even say my name is Josh, as far as I understand it. I wonder if even saying that I live in Massachusetts is kind of skirting that rule, or if I were just to say the East Coast would be okay and not personally identifiable. I don't know. But so their expectations are not natural human speech. They want us to be naturally human speaking humans pretending to be robots trying to naturally speak as a human. Which fine, okay, a complicated prompt, but doable, but their rules don't seem very clearly explained or thought out. And so again, right, so it's just I let the person just explain their side of their question, and all of a sudden the meter is way off balance. And I'm yeah, no, for sure. And now I'm just throwing in yeses and mhms and yeah and okays over them, basically talking over them. and having them have to be like, well, because then when you hear that, you're like, well, right, yeah, and then you continue. So like it stunts and stops the conversation from flowing naturally at all. You can get penalized for that. So at the end of the call, you get a chance to rate the other end of the call and say, was there any project talk? Meaning, once you hit start conversation and there's a little 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown, after 1, you cannot reference the fact that you're answering questions. You can't talk about AI in that you are training AI. You can't, like, there's just certain things you can't, like, express. And then you will talk about the call quality, like, was their audio good? Because that's really what this is about, is like, they need the best and highest quality audio samples of naturally speaking human voices to be able to train their AI on it, so it sounds more natural and it responds more naturally. But like, again, that's not really what they're getting from us as these actors, as these callers. We're very much dancing around a different kind of type of conversation. So it feels forced, but anyway, you then get, so you decide, okay, you say, yeah, the other caller did good, there was no project talk, and their audio sounded fine, you know, whatever. And then you have a little blurb box, whatever, to be able to type out more specific, like how you felt about the call or opinions on the other callers, like quality or something like that. So not only then does your partner rate you, but then there are people apparently working for Babbel on more internally who are also reviewing these calls. And like, for example, if you were to say, hey, perfect sound quality from the other side, they were really engaged, but then whoever listens to this and decides that you were not accurate and that their quality was terrible and it was, you know, in and out or whatever, they can then dock me and punish me again because they don't think that I was being accurate in my review. I mean, at least that's what it feels like and what it seems like. So I am already firstly limited at first to 3 calls a day. Within my second day, I'm talking to someone who's been at this for months and says that she was opened up to 50 calls, 50 calls, within the first like week or two. And she's making like, I think like 10 or 12 calls a day. And at the end of the week on Tuesday, which is payout day, she ends up with like almost $500 a week. So, I mean, like, really encouraging. And I'm like, okay, sweet. And like, I have a good, clear voice. I pronounce things well. I can read. I have really good reading comprehension and a strong vocabulary so that I can see a word. And even if I don't necessarily know exactly what it is, through context clues and knowing how to pronounce things in English, I can work around it. But here's the other problem. So I can get docked and I can get punitive measures taken against me if my call quality isn't solid or if I'm not, quote unquote, like turning the conversation. It's like they want a certain number of turns every segment, which is like 120 seconds or 2 minutes. And so every 2 minutes in this 15-minute call, they're wanting the conversation to like switch. But again, that just isn't how it flows. If I'm listening to a person tell their like personal story that is in context with the question, I'm not gonna like bulldoze over them until I can tell naturally that the conversation on their end is coming to a close, and I can then interject and like politely and then continue the conversation from my side. But above all of that, the website is so glitchy, it's borderline almost like not worth dealing with. So for one example, I was in a call yesterday and I was like, so you join the call or you join the waiting room or whatever, and before you do that you have to go through a network test. So it's checking your up and down for your internet. It's going to do a microphone test to make sure that it's a clear signal coming from my mic and they can hear my voice. They do an echo test because I'm wearing headphones, so they want to see if the headphones can hear the mic and there's an echo. I think that's all the tests, but you have to do that every single time before you start for the day. And then you get into the lobby, and almost immediately you're usually paired with a person right away, and they're already there, and they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? And then you're like, all right. And then you've got some free time between the two of you to chit chat, to just say hey or whatever. I guess at that point you can say who you are or whatever if you really needed to. But then you would both agree on a topic because you basically have the same lists. And then once the topic is agreed upon, you will hit start conversation. There's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you start the conversation by being asked or you ask. Well, I was in the beginning part of the lobby with my partner who I had just randomly been connected to. And we were talking about, topics. And then all of a sudden, his audio cuts out of my earphones, my headphones. So I'm like, what the hell? Did he mute his mic? But I'm looking down at my screen and it says unmute, as if my mic is muted. But my mic didn't mute. I didn't mute my mic. So I come down to the little thing and I'm clicking on it and it expands into a wider menu and it says unmute at the top, and then it reports all of my possible microphone inputs. And so it's on the Yeti Nano, which is my microphone, and I'm trying to click unmute and it will not do anything. It doesn't highlight when you roll over it, and it doesn't change states whatsoever when you're clicking on it, and nothing changes. So for the next couple of minutes, I'm like, well, what the hell is going on? Is he muted for a reason? Is he just sneezing or coughing or whatever, yelling at his dog? Who knows? But there was nothing I could do to get him to come back into my so I could hear him. So after I even picked a conversation, which I know that would update on his end, he would see that a conversation was picked and then he could deny it. And then at least I would know he was still on the other end, but there was no action whatsoever. So I left the conversation. And so that was just one glitch. I don't know if he muted his mic and why he couldn't unmute it, or if there was just I'm assuming though it was a glitch. Because anyone who's doing this wants to take as many calls as they can, and they want to get their full 15 minutes in, because that's the max you can make. So why would you cut a call short if you could talk for another 5 minutes or another 10 minutes, whatever, just to even if you're just completely bullshitting, it doesn't really matter. They just want the quality of the voice. It doesn't necessarily even matter what we're saying, because the topics are all completely kind of random and arbitrary. So anyway, that's example one of one glitch. A second glitch that I ran into, and this one is a little more egregious, is I left that call, and if it shows 0 minutes, if you never hit start conversation and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 never happened, it says it counted as 0 minutes, 0 seconds, and it doesn't count as a call against you. Thank God. So I get into my second call, and I'll come around to why it's my second and last call for the day. Because if you remember, I said I had 3. So I get into my second call, and I end up waiting for a couple of minutes, but then someone jumps in, so we're talking, and I was like, hey, I don't know how often, you're doing this, and they said this was their first day, and I'm like, okay, well, I've been coming into some glitches, and I just got kicked out of a conversation effectively without even being able to start a conversation, which has happened the previous days, where I would log into the lobby and wait, and all of a sudden it would just end a conversation ended, and it would prompt me to rate the call, and I'm like, what call? I didn't even hear anybody in the lobby with me. What are you talking about? There's no call. And then I have to wonder, is it because someone is clicking on the leave button and ending the call before it starts? I mean, I guess, I don't know. But anyway, so I get into this call, a woman jumps on, we're chatting, we're picking a conversation, we picked a conversation topic, we start off, she asks me the question, I give her my 1 minute and a half or whatever preamble about how I feel about it, and then I'm like, well, how about you? And then she's like, okay, well, if we're really gonna get into it, let's get into it, and then the conversation ends. It just ends, and it kicks us over to the rate this conversation screen. So, I mean, I give them the positive, no project talk, audio sounds good or whatever. And then at the bottom, I was like, well, the website glitched again. We did not get a chance to even finish this conversation. And then I hit submit, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that was a glitch. That was a failed mulligan, right? Failed opportunity. I can go back. I have one more call, and it's a total of 2. Wow. So let me get back to it. Nope. nope, that counted as my second call that day. So not only do I not get to work the full hour and get my full 17 goddamn dollars out of you, but then you're going to have a system that glitches so hard that it actually starts cutting into my ability to make money. Absolutely ridiculous. So, you know, and every call averages out to be about $4.30 some odd cents, 38 cents, $3.50. We'll round up, but it's not really, not even. So like, I'm making like a pittance, like a very pitiful, you know, almost like apologetic kind of salary. Like, oh, I'm sorry, here you go. You can have this dirty money here. And then it still doesn't really want me to make that. Like, it still fights me. You know, I know it sounds paranoid, but like, that's what it feels like. Like, it just nothing ever goes easy. Whatever, I'm still doing it. I haven't made my calls this morning because I went to bed really early. I woke up really early. So, but you know, in the next, I don't know, hour or so, I'll hop on and I'll get I'm assuming 2 calls in today, and hopefully they both work and I get my 30 minutes in. It's so frustrating because it's like, it's a good fit for me. Like, it's easy enough. I need to work remote. I've been told by a million people throughout my life that I have a really nice voice and it sounds like a voice for radio. And so like, why not use my voice to make me some money? Do I love the fact that I'm training AI? No, not necessarily. But at the same time, like I said, I'm not in a position to, you know, pick and choose like that. Like, I will pick and choose to some degree, but you know, this just seemed to work out nicely. I'm going to continue to give it at least another couple of weeks to see if it's like a waste of my time or if I'm actually going to start to get opened up and I can like truly wrap my head around the mechanics that they're requiring from me. Because like, so the reason why I'll backtrack. So I started off at 3 calls per day. And for the first like 5 days, I was getting 3 calls in a day and no glitches necessarily that were like ending calls early. If I was in a call, it was stable and went all the way through to the 15 minutes. There were those couple of occasions where I would be sitting in the lobby and then it would just end out of nowhere and I hadn't even spoken with anybody or heard anybody. And it would say that the call was over, which was crazy. But that didn't count against me. So it didn't bother me that much. It was annoying, but it didn't bother me. So this is a good fit for me. Like, I can work from home. I enjoy the work because it's like engaging in a way where I get to like just kind of single serving, to quote Fight Club, get a quick little single serving friend and chat about stuff that I find to be interesting or they find to be interesting. And if they're interested in it, then I'm going to be interested in it. It's a really good fit for me. I would like to be doing 10 hours a day. I could easily do a 5-hour shift early in the day, take a couple hours off, and then do a 5-hour shift at night. I could easily be working a 10-hour day doing this and, you know, actually making some kind of income. But for now, that's just not the case. It is, I guess I'm still in my like probationary trial period or whatever. But yes, hopefully I can figure out the mechanism so that I can play the game correctly, stop getting penalized. So I think right now I'm sitting at an 86 or 87% like approval rating. So with that said, the Babbel AI voice training, I'll give it a few more weeks just to see if I'm wasting my time or not. Hopefully not. It'd be nice just to have that as just something else that I can do, just a side gig for my side gig. So yeah, but I did have a friend also send me a application link, which I'm going to fill out tonight for medical transcription. All you really have to be is proficient at typing and like copying things over, which I can do. So I'm gonna try my hand at transcriptions. I know transcription has always been one of those kind of like remote work from home gigs that like people didn't really know existed, and if you did know it existed, like if you did it well, you could kind of float on that kind of income. So, you know, if I can maybe break into some transcription work and you know, make a decent chunk there, but then also continue the Babbel voice training on the side, you know, that's good. You know, as long as if I can average like $1,000 a month, even $600 a month, $700 a month, I feel like I'm in an okay position in my current living situation. So that'll be one of the next things I do is try to find some transcription work. Other than that, yeah, I mean, you'll notice that I had talked about doing The Lady Killers as a movie review and reaction. But unfortunately, I just sort of lost the joy in that. I enjoyed the movie, don't get me wrong, and I did watch it. I recorded my reaction, I found the movie to download, but as I was editing, I noticed for some reason the audio track or the movie footage that I downloaded was somehow variable. And so even after, in the first 3 movies I did, Purple People Eater, Fargo, and Tusk, every time if I linked up and I could sync by ear the audio track from me watching the TV and the audio track of the movie, I could sync it up and it would stay synced. And then if I had to make a weird cut somewhere, I might have to fiddle again and resync it, but like it would still stay synced. Well, The Lady Killers, the version that I downloaded and was using to cut to, was not. It was variable. Like I would sync it to a word, and for that scene, for like half of that scene, it might stay together enough to be not like echoey or have reverb. But then, you know, within a full minute later, it would be completely off again. And I just don't want to sit here fighting the edit all day. I'm already sort of a slow editor because I like to take my time and make sure that I'm doing things like whatever. But like, I don't find joy in fighting the work. I just don't. And so when that becomes the case, I just don't want to do it. And I'm just going to take it as a sign that I'm not a movie reviewer. I mean, I'm still open to doing music reactions. And it would be a nice thing to do to keep my channel again with some content. And I think music reactions are maybe kind of a little safer these days to get away with, where I can just play the song. Yes, I'll pause it if I feel like I have to. I can also do that project at my computer and not have to like set up a camera so that I'm watching my TV for the movie, because I don't want to watch a movie on my computer. But listening to music with headphones on my computer, that's very normal. So I might start to think about doing a music reaction here or there. But the level of editing that is involved, like, I would love to record a movie reaction and then send that off to an editor that I'm paying to edit for me. That would be a different story. I'd do more movie reactions, no problem. But for the kind of time and effort that it takes me to edit one of those, and they're not even that good. Like, I mean, like, I was trying a new format for this Lady Killers movie reaction review, where I was like taking notes, and I had like a whole breakdown thanks to a friend who like said, look, this is a movie breakdown. If you want to review a movie, you know, reacting is the first half, but if you really want to review it, you've got to go through these steps. And they were completely, totally right. But the process just like sucked the fun out of it. Like, I don't know how else to put it. And so I'm not going to do it if I don't enjoy it, because it'll totally come through to the audience watching. It's just a way for me to kill time and fill up space on my channel, whatever. And to me, that's not what it's about. This is a vlog channel. It is supposed to be about me and my life and my experiences, somewhat day to day, with obviously some gaps in there thrown in for good measure. So yeah, other than that, I'm still, you know, looking for work. Hopefully I'll find something soon. Fingers crossed I can go back to my friend's land in a couple of weeks here, so that I have a place to stay. Oh, and I do have an update on my pin productions.
They will chop you down just to count your rings, just to count your rings, just to count your rings.
So I had one more pin over in China being produced for like the last month or so, and that is now finally done and shipped. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. It was scary. It was rough, very stressful, because the way it works is you send over artwork to a manufacturer in China. they will work with their designers and their team to like fine tune it and get it right. And they will put together a worksheet, and that worksheet breaks down like price per unit and the price for the mold and all these other things, and then the final total. And then to begin production, they ask that you send half of that total to them first. So half up front and then half when they're ready to ship. And that's how they release them. As you've paid off the second half, they will then send the pins out. Well, when I had these pins put into production, I had the money. And I also expected to hopefully have found a job by the time that maybe it was going to come around where I'd have to then pay the second half. Because I knew that I had the money now. And I mean, maybe I could have forced the issue and just sent the whole chunk right up front, and I wouldn't have to be worried about it at this point later in the process. But, you know, either way, then I just would have been out of money sooner, right? So, yeah, so all of these months later, plus they had the Chinese New Year, which is like a 2-week vacation for them. So like a lot of time went by, and now I'm fucking broke. Like I have less than $200 to my name. Well, today I'll get $100 from doing the TikToks, so I mean, that'll help. But still, I owed $680.50 to finish paying off this most recent last production. I was able to luckily pay for the logo pins in full, and they got shipped out. I had an okay drop for those. I made a few $100 there. And now, but I was really worried that they were going to effectively hold my pins hostage, and not like in a derogatory or divisive or derisive way that I'm saying that about them, but it's like that's just the way it works. Like if you can't pay it off, they're not going to ship it out. So I was looking at either having to slowly pay off that debt by like maybe $100 every week here and there based on what I'd be making for doing the TikToks, but that's now 7-8 weeks that I'd have to sit and pay them slowly, that my potential earnings is just sitting in a box in China. Like that's not cool. But if that's what had to happen, that's what it would have had to happen. The other option was a pre-sale, but I don't really love pre-sales, and only because, like, in theory, yes, it makes sense. And if you really needed to get your pins from overseas, like, it kind of makes sense where you might try and pre-sell, whatever, say, and I did the math, I would have had to do 26 or 27 to make the $680 to send over. Within Facebook and the Facebook art pin community, small niche world, there have been producers who even had had the trust and respect of the community, who then would do a pre-sale, and then for whatever reason, either something went wrong in their life or their dog had to go to the vet or whatever, but like that money disappeared and didn't go to the pre-sale. So there's a lot of like prickly attitudes when it comes to pin producers on Facebook doing pre-sales. It can work if your reputation is like completely intact and people still like find your product to be like sought after and a hot product they want. You can definitely have the the goodwill within the community to do a pre-sale. I'm not saying that I don't have that goodwill, because I think I do. It's just that my group is small to begin with. I have just under 500 members in my group. And only a certain very small percentage of those people in my group are actually actively looking and waiting and watching for updates from my pins and stuff. So there's no guarantee that if I were to open up a pre-sale that I would even be able to sell the amount of pins that I would need to cover the shipping to get them over here. So there were a few reasons why I didn't love the idea of a pre-sale, but again, that might have been my like second option, my plan B. And then paying it off slowly week by week or whatever would have been my plan C. Meaning I had a plan A, which was maybe, hopefully, I can find a private investor who is able to cover that entirely, and then I'll get the pins in, I will sell them, they will get their money back plus some interest. I posted to my Facebook because that's the only audience I have. I'm not on X because that place. I mean, I know there's Blue Sky and all this stuff, but like I don't have a network of people on these. And if I did have a network on like Threads or Blue Sky or Instagram, it's all just the same Facebook friends and fam that I'm being linked in, because it's people you may know or people you're friends with over here. Be friends with them over here. So I'm still just recycling the same effective audience over and over. So I just posted to my Facebook, my personal private, personal Facebook. Hey, I'm just reaching out. If anybody, like, I have pins that are ready to ship over, but I just don't have the money to cover the second half of production to get them released. If anyone is ready and able and willing to, I spelled it out. I'm like, I need $680.50. You'll get paid back and then some. That was up for about 45 minutes, and then I got a message, and she's like, I got you. Fam, don't worry about it. Take the post down. I got you. I've told this to you before in our most recent conversations, but seriously, an absolute lifesaver. Based on the design and, how big they're going to come out and all this stuff, like, I've done some math, and I know that I could probably walk away with, to sell all of the pins, I could probably walk away with like $2,500. Not bad. There are two variants or two designs of this pin design. One is like a full round. You've seen it before. I'll maybe try and show it again. But yeah, so one's a full round and one's like the half round. There's 60 of those each, so 120 pins total, which is, a limited number. It's a small lot, so I'm hoping that I can either come very close to selling out or getting a first official sellout. I'm going to do like 5 sets or matching numbered pairs, and then I am going to sell the rest as singles at $26.50. I feel like that is a fair price point for, like, a lot of art pins are selling for $30-$40 still to this day for the newer designs and stuff. So I think $26.50, I'm still kind of slightly undercutting the market there, but still making a good profit. So that should be, the pins will be arriving by the 25th of the month, hopefully. So it's in 4 days. I don't know if I really believe that it's only going to take 4 days to get here from China. They literally shipped it today or last night in China. So yeah, if it's 8:43 a.m., it's 8:43 p.m. there. So at sometime around noon, right around when I was going to bed, or midnight here, they shipped. I got the shipping confirmation from DHL, so I don't know if it's only going to take 4 days. That'd be dope, but I don't know if I believe that, because I need to make as much money as I can as soon as possible, especially because I don't have a definite place to go. I have no idea where I'm headed in the next 10 days. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. So wish me luck on the pin sale for the Aesop Rock pins. Hopefully that will work out. I got my food stamps on the 13th, and then didn't mean to, but effectively blew through them within that first day of getting them, because I just shopped for real and I shouldn't have. So I don't have any more food stamps for the rest of the month and until the 13th of next month. So that's kind of a worry, because I don't have money really to spend on stuff like food, because really, other than making sure you eat and drink water every day, how else are you supposed to keep yourself alive? But yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I mean, at the same time, my MO for this entire rebirth or revamping, rebooting of my life is I am a little nervous about it. I'm a little freaked out because I don't know exactly what it's going to entail, but also, what can I do except just kind of show up for it every day and do it? So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm in the process of. Oh yeah, a little bit of news to celebrate. I am done vaping. I had purchased my last bundle of vapes, I guess, on December 31st or December 30th or whatever, the day before the new year, basically. The 29th. It was on the 29th. I went back to my friend's place to do a single quick event D&D dinner kind of night for some friends. And so I went to there was a vape store kind of close by to them. So I went there, I spent probably too much money on it, but At the same time, I made sure that they were like basically completely dead before I would throw them out. Like, I'm pretty stingy with it. So, and I was gonna smoke it anyway or vape it anyway, but that ran out about 2 weeks ago. No, a week ago. I was down to my last vape, and I literally vaped that thing down to its coil. Like, it really started in like Raz, the brand Raz was actually one of the best vapes out there because like they didn't ever really start to taste bad. But when you are vaping on a vape that is said that it's been dead for 3 days, you're going to eventually hit that coil. And here's the thing. Nicotine is, you can still vape nicotine, but you can't get flavors. And I don't know if you ever tried tobacco flavored vapes, but they suck. They're just not good. They're not enjoyable. They're not good. You get your nicotine bump out of it, sure, but like it's just not enjoyable from the moment you put it up to your mouth to exhaling. It just kind of sucks. So I preferred the more whatever fruity or like sweet flavors. So they were made illegal in mass years ago. So then your only option was, if you wanted flavored vapes, is you'd have to go down to Rhode Island, which is only like a 20-minute, 30-minute drive from across to get across the border to buy vapes, whatever. So not that big of a deal. Well, as of this year, Rhode Island also banned flavored vapes. So I show up on the 29th and I buy a shit ton of them, like at least 3 cases and then some. And there's like 8 in a case, I think. So I bought a bunch, and I did not know that I was doing this right on the day before, effectively, or right before they're about to like not have them ever again. So like the timing was just perfect. Like I saw the sign on the door when I walked in, so it was perfect. So I bought a bunch. Anyway, I'm out and I can't go to Rhode Island anymore for flavored vapes. There's none in mass. Well, not to say there's none, but you would have to you have to know the guy who runs the gas station. You can't show up before 6 p.m. because that's when the inspectors are around. But after 6 p.m., they're not going to send an inspector to your store. So at that point, they'll pull them out from under the thing and start selling. It's like dumb. If you don't want kids to vape, just don't sell vapes to kids. If kids still end up getting a vape off the street because they bought it off of a friend or whatever, like, don't penalize adults who are buying them legally and like safely, but whatever. 13-year-olds will ruin everything for everybody. Anyway, so I'm taking it to end this rant. I took it as a sign from the universe that I'm not going to drive all the way to Connecticut to get a vape. Like I drive a diesel truck. The gas alone, I would have to buy like 1,000 vapes for that to even come out to making any sense. And I'm not doing that. And I've needed to let it go for quite a long time. The only reason I could quit smoking traditional tobacco was because of vapes. And now, it's like, are they really doing anything really for me other than feeding the nicotine addiction? And also, my oral fixation and my hands need something to do. My fidget needs, so having a vape to pick up and puff on and exhale, like all of those things are true, but like really in the end, it's not serving me. It's not really doing me any favors. I still think vaping is healthier, like definitively healthier than smoking traditional tobacco products. But it's still not necessary for life. Drinking water, that's necessary for life. I don't really plan on quitting drinking water anytime soon. Eating food every so often, it's necessary for life. Sleeping, necessary for life. Don't really see myself letting that one go. But vaping, really, what is it doing for me? It's just a habit that I can break. And I'm using this as a sign from the universe to pick the time now. So, super stressed out. Maybe not the best time to quit vaping, I will say. I will say that I've certainly picked potentially the worst time. But, it is what it is. I literally physically do not have the money or the ability to get out to where they are in Connecticut, nor do I have any local hookups, or do I know any gas station attendants who will under the table, whatever. So it just is what it is. It's not been fun. There are so many times in the day where there's like a lull and I just look over for my vape because I want to puff and I can't. Also at the end of a meal, also like when I first wake up, it helps me, like nicotine helps my system kind of move and helps me, do my morning routine. And to not have that now, I'm relying on like drinking like caffeinated tea, which is fine. I make a cider tea where I mix in a pouch of apple cider mix and then I throw in a couple of different tea bags, like breakfast, English breakfast, and like a lemon zinger, or the Bigelow's French vanilla is really a nice combination with the breakfast tea and cider. So, and a little bit of honey. So that's my morning drink, and it does kind of help, but it's not the same. It is less satisfying, I will say that. But, you know, small concessions to just have one less thing to have to worry about, and one less thing that I have to be stressed about that I can't afford because I don't need it anymore. Wish me luck with that as well. I can't promise you that I will stay on the wagon or off the wagon. I never knew how the wagon euphemism worked. Are you on the wagon? Are you off it? Are you back off of it? Are you back on? I don't know. It doesn't matter. There is no wagon. And there is no vapes. So yeah, wish me luck. And I think that's going to call it for this episode. I probably rambled for like 40 minutes. I'll edit it down a little bit. Anyway, thank you as always for liking and commenting and subscribing. I am trying to reach the monetization requirements, so please share this out and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.